Hold him. Now you listen to me, you hillbilly punk who thinks the world's still round. I'm here to tell you it's not. It's flat!
He's an interesting guy, man, and, he believes it, so. Kyrie, the earth is flat, right? Yeah. So, whatever.
That's news.
That's news. Here we go.
You must unite what has been set asunder.
We are TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
Broadcasting straight to you from a large spaceship currently at war with the mainstream scientific community. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, the creator of Flat Earth Clues, which propose that all of us are living inside a Truman Show enclosed structure thousands of miles wide. Check it out at enclosedworld.com or just Google Flat Earth Clues. If you can't find it, then you are not very good at the internet. For those of you listening to this on YouTube, you want to hear the show live as it happens, please go to Truth Frequency Radio for the latest schedule. Currently, this show is on Tuesday nights at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. And if it is not January 16th, 2018, then it is a rerun. So check your local listings. Quote of the day goes a little something like this. For last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice. That's from T.S. Eliot. A couple things real quick. Check out, if you haven't already, the Kyrie Irving Nike commercial for his, I think it's called the Kyrie Irving 4 series. He's doing very well for the Boston Celtics. Currently, I think they have the best record in the NBA, and that is all because of Flat Earth. Flat Earth gives you special powers, just to let you know. And Rocket Man Mad Mike is still, right now, gunning to do his launch sometime before the Super Bowl, which is coming up pretty soon. They're having the divisional playoffs this weekend, and then 2 weeks after that, I believe, is the Super Bowl. So also check your listings for that. Hopefully we'll get more news as it arrives. All other challenges, except for this one, have been suspended, including the Jeffrey Grupp Challenge and the Big Money Challenge and all the other challenges. The only one left is the Mark Sargent Flat Earth Challenge. Well, that's the only one I'm announcing here anyway. This is my personal declaration of war from Flat Earth against mainstream science. I, Mark Sargent, hereby put forth the challenge to any university, foreign or domestic, to debate or discuss the Flat Earth reality. The short version is this: you fly me in, take care of my hotel, and I'll face down any scientific body you put against me. My only debate requirement is that you have someone with a master's degree in a physical science either participating in or supervising the event. Accept this challenge and you will be treated with respect. If not, then you're just cowards hiding behind empty equations. Subject matter experts, we're always looking for them. I'm going to rattle them off real quick. Who are the subject matter experts we have had so far? on this show. We have had a United States Navy missile instructor, United States Air Force navigator, a Marine Corps sniper instructor, a Navy submarine chief, an Army artillery radar operator, an Australian intelligence officer, an American flight instructor, an industrial engineer specializing in valves and wow. I had a good roll going there. And SEALs, career surveyor of 32 years, an international shipping expert, a corporate travel agent, an air traffic controller, a United States Army master gunner, an aviation and ground training combat expert, a USDA surveyor of 27 years, a 32nd degree Mason, an etheric science researcher, commercial airline captain, a commercial airline co-pilot, an industrial vacuum expert. And we even threw in a merchant marine for good measure. So if anyone wants to be a subject matter expert, you can do it anonymously. You can have me read a statement for you. You can even come on with your actual name. All you have to do is contact me at msargent23@comcast.net, or you can email me. You can call me at 303-494-6631. We're going to do emails here in just a bit, but just to let you know that starting next week, weather permitting, I will be taking some phone calls. So be ready for it. We're not going to do them tonight. And also mention up front, I will try to mention it towards the back end of the show as well, but I will be doing a live appearance on Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes with Patricia Steer. That is tomorrow, the 17th at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. So there you go. And there will be a little bit of a different look to it. Also, just to let you know, I didn't change colors or anything. You'll understand what I mean. All right, let's get right to emails because we're going to burn through as many as we can. And thank you, everybody who has been emailing me so far. I get more than I can use, but I try to read what I can. This first one, this one's unusual. I don't usually start with a non-Flat Earth one, but this one's called Vegas Shooting. Hi, Mark. I am just now listening to your October 3rd video on Strange World where you were talking about Vegas. Please check out this YouTube channel, MFA Underground / Scott Binsack, Binsack. He is brilliant. Check it out and keep up the awesome work that you do. And that's from Lisa in Orlando, Florida. Very welcome, Lisa. And yeah, I'll boil down the Vegas thing real quick. You want my easy thing to throw at anybody out there. And again, I know not a lot of people shoot, but it is America, and we have more guns than just about anyone. And that is, look, if you're going to try to hit targets from 400 yards away, and if you're a shooter or you know shooters, ask them. If you're going to hit targets from 400 yards away, ask them what rifle they're going to use. They are not going to use a 5.56. They are not going to use an AR-15. They're going to use a 7.62 and a 308 Winchester or larger, or a 30-06 or a 50 cal or any of the big game hunting rifles. You are not going to use a 5.56. You're just not. Sorry, that's it. It's just not enough gun. It just does not carry enough weight by the time it gets to 400 yards. It's just not going to be able to do it. I don't care how much money they pay me. There's no way I would do it with an AR-15. Not going to happen. This one's called license plate. Oh, cool. Yeah, somebody sent me a license. Actually, I remember why I said this. This is another Flat Earth license plate. It's from Utah, and he's doing it with 6 letters, and it's ISFLAT, ISFLAT. And that was to remind me, everyone out there, because I know you're out there, and I know some of you are trying to be anonymous. I get it. You get your Flat Earth license plate. You don't want to just poster it everywhere, because then people will be looking for you. But I've gotten so many so far, and we've gotten the majority of the continental United States, and I think about half of the Canadian provinces. I think those are the only 2 countries that allow vanity plates because, America, that's what we do. I mean, in fact, they don't even call them vanity plates. They used to call them back in the old days when they first came out. They were called vanity plates because only the rich and vain used them. And now they're called personalized license plates because I think vanity was considered derogatory. So if you have a Flat Earth license plate, do what you can. Can you get the message out there in 6, 7, or 8 letters? If you can, then send me a picture of your plate, and I'll put it in the compilation. I'll use it in slides, and you'll be immortalized. Do that, please. I'd love to see him. And so thank you for the guy in Utah who sent it to me. I think his name is Brad. Thank you, Brad, for that. This one is called Flat. Hello, Mark. I loved your presentations. I watched all your episodes to get a clearer picture. I have some questions for you. Shocker. You have no idea how much my phone's been blowing up as of late, and always the same thing. Mark, I watched your video, your 2-hour movie, and I got a couple questions. Fantastic, great. But there's no way, there's a reason why I can't pick up the phone anymore, is because they haven't watched that. I mean, usually, and I know it's my fault because I actually put my phone number at the beginning of the clues. Like in the intro of the clues, I put my phone number there. I should have put it at the very end because lots of people, you can actually hear it. What's creepy is when you're listening to the voicemails, or I'm listening to the voicemails, they're leaving me a message and I can actually hear my voice behind them playing on their PC. It's surreal. Anyway, if we are under a dome, how do we get hit by meteors and asteroids? What happens to the International Space Station? Good point. Tell me when a meteor and or asteroid actually hits anything, especially the space station. Shouldn't the space station be in constant peril constantly? Not to mention every one of the supposedly thousands of satellites up there. We have meteor showers that happen every year like clockwork. And yet, when's the last time you ever heard of a satellite just getting smacked? Remember, it doesn't have to be a big meteor. It doesn't have to be something like out of the movie Deep Impact or Armageddon. A meteor the size of a nickel could take out, if you believe in mainstream science, a nickel-sized rock could take out a satellite easily. I mean, remember, bullets are very, very small. You shoot a bullet at a satellite, see what happens. Does it hit the wall? No. I'm saying there's no space outside of here. I'm saying we're in a building. We're in a big structure. What's outside of a Hollywood soundstage? More buildings and other things, but not space. It cannot orbit, obviously. Yes, that's true. In the recent Star Wars movie Rogue, wasn't there a domed planet that opened and closed to let in space traffic? Yes, there was. Actually, Rogue One is probably one of my favorite Star Wars movies now because it had nothing to do with the entire Star Wars lineage. It was just its own thing. It was the prequel. In fact, I don't know why they just didn't say it. They called it a Star Wars story. No, it's the Star Wars prequel. And everybody dies. That's the spoiler for you guys. Everybody dies. All the characters die. Because that was the plot. Before going into the very first Star Wars movie, there was this little tiny blurb of a backstory. The Star Wars Rogue One answered this eternal question in the Star Wars franchise, which was how in the world did the Death Star plans make it to the Rebels? This movie, that's all it was to answer that one question right there. Made an entire movie, and it worked. It was done very well. Let's see, who opens it? Where is the opening? I don't know if there is an opening, and I don't know if anybody can get in and out. What keeps the oceans in place? Well, I don't know, flat world, molecular magnetic force. I don't think it's just pressure. Why are all the photos of other planets round? Because they're faked. Again, if you go to a planetarium, wow, she's got a whole bunch of questions. You know what? I'm just going to read the questions because it's going to take too long. Because you guys don't know some of these anyway. Are they all faked? What about the probes sent from JPL and NASA? Were they even sent? Why do the major spiritual masters say the Earth is hollow? See, I love when people just hit me with this barrage of questions, and I rarely will I answer these in an email because I know it's in their head now. Now this person's going to be a flat earther before it's over. Who would go to all the trouble of building the dome? Yep, there's another one. Perhaps this is a prison. I have to also disagree with the concept of peace and respect for the environment being restored to the planet if we knew the Earth was flat. Have you seen the Simpsons movie? They virtually went insane and destroyed each other. Good point. I love your open mind. I also love the theory that all of this reality is a computer simulation and this reality is just a holodeck of sorts. Good one. In fact, I remember the creator of Dilbert, the comic strip series. He had an interesting intro to one of his graphic novels where he said, and he was absolutely right, he said the last invention we will ever make will be the holodeck. Meaning once you can create a true virtual reality, then that's it. Civilization basically collapses because all people would do was live in that civilization. Why would you care about anything else? If you can create your life would be nothing compared to a virtual reality that you could buy. Then all you would be doing is making just enough money to pay for the virtual reality subscription and updates. Here. Let's see here. I just watched a Gaia episode on the Gnostic teachings. How does that fit into your ideas? I have no idea because I have not watched a Gaia episode. I loved your airline traffic theories. I have a best friend who is an international pilot. I will have to get her opinion. You can tack her on to the other pilots we've already talked to. Anyway, thank you for your videos. I enjoyed them immensely. I live by this saying, the only way out is in. It's good. Live in the present moment and enjoy. Where do you think she can't end this email. She just keeps asking more questions. Where do you think our spirit goes upon death? Do you think we are trapped in reincarnation? No, I don't. Have you heard of the theory that the dome is really a net of sorts, and that's when you are dead and disembodied, you can escape through the holes in the net? Ooh, interesting theory. I like that. Thinking outside the dome, as it were. Do you think there are multiple dimensions and universes? Yes, I do. But not universes that you know of. Have you ever heard of the Archons? Yes, I have. Do you think that this domed rock is the extent of God's creation? No, I don't. I think that this is not a one-off. Have fun, Pauline. Thank you, Pauline. And we will move on. Next one is called, please add to slideshow. Mark, I got this t-shirt for Christmas from my wife, and I'm proud of it. Can you please add it to your slides for Strange World, etc.? Thanks. Hope you had a great Christmas and a happy New Year. JJ from Erie. P.S. I'm sure you heard about us in the news for getting 63 inches of snow in 3 days. I think it's all kind of fun, actually, getting buried like that. You are a sick man, Jonathan. And what does the picture look like? The picture looks like, oh yeah, it's a NASA logo, and instead of the word NASA, instead of the 4 letters NASA, it's NOPE. Nope. It's good. I think I put that in the slideshow. Excellent. Thank you for that, Jonathan. This one's called Survive Guide. Mark, could you please email me your survival guide? Thank you in advance. I sent a previous email on ammonia refrigeration on the ISS and used perhaps terms that were unassociated with the field, wouldn't connect with my apologies. The creation of oxygen with electrolysis I touched on left a couple of questions, I realized. In the process, water is broken down into hydrogen and oxygen, and the hydrogen would be explosive and need to be vented, as containing it would be a whole new problem. I have an observation perhaps others have touched on. Gravity is said to be a proponent of the mass. Having said that, also centrifugal force and inertia are counters of the enacting force. So, not complicating reasoning with the math of the physics, perhaps you could ask a globalist why a person weighs the same at the equator as they do at the North Pole, as centrifugal force is greater at the equator and acting counter to gravity and surely would be measurable. And that's from A. Kelly. And yes. Yeah, the weight difference, and that is the short version of that, the ending part anyway, is that yes, in a merry-go-round, remember it's spinning very, very fast. People get thrown off into the monkey bars, but in the center of the merry-go-round, you're not moving at all. You're spinning in a circle. Same thing on the globe. So if an object weighs, say 10 pounds at the North Pole, if you move it to the equator, the centrifugal force should be forcing it ever so slightly away from the world. Therefore, it should be slightly lighter. I'm not saying it's a pound lighter or even an ounce lighter, but it should be measurable. And as far as I know, we do not see that. Moving on. This one's called Forward. Poor old Art has lost his marbles. Hi, Mark. Buddy, hope you're well. Just want to show you I'm trying to do my part in waking up a few people. Some of these people I've known for 45 years. These contacts are of every age, color, and race. And that's from Art. And what he did was he sent a whole bunch of people some videos, and most of them seem to be mine. And he says, I'll just read you the intro that he sent. He did a mass email to everybody on behalf of the Flat Earth. Hi, all. I'm sure you must think poor old Art, he's really lost his marbles. He thinks the Earth is flat. Yes, I do think the Earth is flat, and for a good reason. Most Flat Earthers became Flat Earthers because they couldn't debunk it. I challenge you to try. Here's an excellent place to start with Mark Sargent's Flat Earth Clues. Perfect. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. And he sent the Flat Earth Clues director's cut, which is a slightly cleaner version, just so you know. The volume's a little different. The slide transitions are a little different. And, of course, they're all in one big movie, like some of the other people did. And then he sent Eric Dubé's 200 proof that the Earth is a spinning ball, followed by NASA astronaut Don Pettit, we can't go back to the moon. These are a bunch of videos with small summaries in between them. Plus, NASA engineer admits they can't get past the Van Allen belts. That's also excellent. Goes into my Van Allen belt trap question. which is Are the Van Allen belts deadly or not? Then there's one by me called NASA, How to Fake Space Badly in 1983, and that was a mirror by Geo Shifter. That's a great one. I love that one. Again, we didn't pay attention in 1983. Also followed by United States Merchant Marine, Flat Earth is Real. That's from Strange World 74. Wow, can you believe that? That was half of my shows ago. Strange World 74. We're up to 134 tonight. Wow, time flies. And I think that's it. So, and then he leaves his phone number for them to call. It's great. And of course, he leaves it with, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. That's awesome, man. Thank you for doing that. It's great stuff. Glad he did that mass emailing. This one's called Flat Earth Song, Kyle King. Mark, hey Mark, just wanted to send you an original tune inspired by Flat Earth. I figured you would appreciate it. Enjoy. That's from Kyle King, Flat Earth Song. I don't know if he actually posted it on YouTube. I don't think he did. He just sent it to me as an original. So thank you. By the way, you guys can send me any original songs you want. It's a little tougher for me to make videos. I just don't have the time to make videos for just raw song material now. I know I used to, but the song, you're just going to have to come up with a generic slideshow and make your song and tie it to it and put it on your YouTube thing. I will promote it. I've consolidated, since I've been gone, I've consolidated all the Flat Earth music into one giant playlist called Flat Earth Music 2015 to present. And I think as of today, it's got 246 tracks. So check that out if you get a chance. And not rated or anything, and I don't think I even have any comments next to them. But there's a lot of them out there, and I try to update it as best I can. So I add what I can, and if there's any dead links, if somebody's channel goes down, I try to kill those when I get a chance as well. So thank you for that, Kyle, for sending me the music. This one's called Francisco. Hi, Mark. This is Francisco Martins, and I am following your videos on Flat Earth for a long time now. Well, I also do my own research on the Flat Earth. Is there any way to be part of your team? Well, meanwhile, do send me some Flat Earth t-shirts if you have one. Like to hear from you soon. Regards, Francisco Martins. And he is out of country, obviously from the verbiage he used in the email. And from the phone number he left, somebody look up what 65 country code 65 is on the old telephone machine. And that's where he's from. As far as sending people t-shirts, no, I rarely send anybody t-shirts. In fact, I'll give them out when I go to things, but generally I won't mail anybody a t-shirt. But by all means, if you want to check out t-shirts, go to the description, join the Flat Earth Army, and there's a link to a t-shirt group that is selling Flat Earth t-shirts. Actually, it's part of the Peanut Gallery family. Not me. I do not receive any profits from these t-shirts, but by all means, check it out. So any description for every video that I make, and I think I just broke 1,000 videos last weekend. So that's a lot. That's a lot of Flat Earth videos. Moving on, we got time for a few more before the break, I think. This one's called I Can't Believe It. Mark, the entire time watching your film, my jaw was to the floor. I'm speechless. Deanna, P.S. Great job. And what she's talking about, just so you know, it's not a film. Early on, and this is old hat for people that have listened to the show before, I've made my stuff Creative Commons license. So when you go in, you can take my video, anything that's Creative Commons license in YouTube, you can take and put on your channel and make the nickels for it if you want. It doesn't make any difference to me, and so I did that. And when my channel, I hadn't made enough videos to where I could even upload large chunks. So my clues were all under 15 minutes because those were the rules. But there were other people that you could upload big things, so they just took the clues, attached them together, and turned them into Flat Earth movies. One was done by, I can't remember the name of the guy off the top of my head, but he called it Under the Dome Full Documentary. That's got over 4 million hits, and the other one's called They Are Hiding God with the Greatest Lay Ever, and that one's going to get 3 million hits. And I get emails every day from people that watch these things, and they think that I'm the guy. They think that channel is me. And I get emails all the time and say, "Hey, what else have you done besides that?" It's like, I've done a few things. But hopefully most people, if they watch it, if they're interested enough, they'll go into YouTube and just type in Flat Earth, and that'll take them there. So And when I get an email like that, I will say, hey, did you find a chance to go to my main channel? And they say, and a lot of people say, no, I hadn't gone. It's like, great. Well, there you go. This one's called Flat Earth Theory. Dear Mr. Sargent, your YouTube video is interesting and raises many questions. The three that come to mind first are the following. 1. How it can be explained that beginning at various latitudes, many people have set off due west and others due east when traveling far enough and not due... Hang on. This new email system. Every once in a while, jump back a screen for whatever reason. I don't know. It's not crash. It doesn't crash. It just goes back a screen. From the original line of at latitude have arrived back or near their point of departure. That's because a compass on a flat Earth works just the same as it does on a globe, and you can travel around a dinner plate with your finger or a dining room table or anything that's round, doesn't have spherical. We're talking 2D versus 3D. You can go around a dinner plate and come back to the same spot, and the compass makes you think like you're traveling around a sphere. You wouldn't know any difference. 2, what possible reason would the world controllers have to keep up the Copernican view of a near spherical Earth if indeed it was flat? Experience has shown that they are inclined to be less than honest, but for definable objective. And so for that one, I just say watch the Flat Earth clues again, because I think Simon here didn't even finish the clues before he sent that question. And 3, what is on the underside? Butterscotch and rainbows. I have no idea what's on the underside. Remember, we can only drill down 8 miles or 12 kilometers if you are going by the metric system. So you tell me. We can only go down 8 miles. I don't know what's down there. I think there's some subterranean civilizations. I think there's some stuff down there. I think there's a barrier, and then I think there's something below the barrier. But anyway. He ends this with, I would be very interested in your response. Kind regards, Simon J. Darlington of France. He actually writes pretty well for a guy from France. I don't know if he's actually French, but thank you for that. We're going to go to a break here in just a minute, and we'll come back and we'll read a nice one from the UK. And you guys, if you want to email me, you can just send an email to msargent23@comcast.net. That's MSARGENT 23 at comcast.net.
Hello, Colby.
We'll be back in just a few.
The White House, Ronald Reagan speaking.
Hello, my old friend. How are you today?
Finally, it's time for a daily chess match. Are you ready?
Yes. My last move yesterday was the queen from
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are DFR, your protection from deception.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 2 of 4, and the intro-outro music, in case you were wondering. The one you heard before, you heard some Russian people talking during the first outro. That was, I think it was called American Soviets by a band called CCCP, I think, which used to stand for the old Soviet Union. And the intro, which just kicked in now, was Absurd by Fluke. Fluke. And while we were in break, a old friend of mine from high school, of course I didn't finish high school because World War II broke out, this old friend wrote me and said, hey Mark, have you ever seen The Martian? And that's with Matt Damon, in case you guys have forgotten. And yes, I have seen, her name is Kristen, by the way, I have seen The Martian, and that movie enraged me. To use a younger saying, it triggered me. And I didn't even see it in the theater. I won't. I refuse to see pseudo-space movies now in any sort of theater. And The reason why it bugged me so much was, one, of course, the Mars mission, and we've had several planets with big names, Red Planet, Mission to Mars. Those are probably the two most recent before that one. And this one bugged me for so many. One, you can't get there. Even if Mars was a planet that you could reach, we have no technology that could even come close to reaching it. It's an issue of fuel. Without a unified field engine, you're not going anywhere, even if there was a solar system. And the second part was they mixed reality with fantasy in that he dug up the supposedly real Mars rover and used the atomic device that was inside it to power what he needed to get off. I mean, it's a decent survival movie. It's very resourceful, very clever. But, oh, God, it just drove me nuts. Nothing against Matt Damon. I've watched a lot of his stuff. And, I mean, for God's sakes, the man was... the Bourne Identity was tailor-made for him. I was going to say Bourne to play Bourne Identity, but you see why I probably didn't. So no, but yeah, that movie drove me nuts, and I've only watched it once, and I probably won't watch it again. Same thing with Gravity, same thing with Interstellar, stuff like that. So anyway, moving on. Let's get to what are we getting to? How about this email? This one's called Touching Down. Hi, Mark. I've been following you and others on interesting topics such as NASA, flat Earth theory and proof, religious supporting data, Antarctic history, and various relevant and reliable sources and information. Plus, other possible topics, of course, such as the hidden layer of supposedly need-to-know wealthy crowd that keeps protecting these secrets. I would be interested in learning more, helping if possible to find the real truth in behind the scenes, so to speak. Feel free to email me with initial thoughts, what it is we need to do, also what likelihood of getting anywhere close to proving our theories. My mobile in the UK is this number. Kind regards, John Criddle. John, the mission for you and anyone else that's asking is bring me the head of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson needs to be killed. Plain and simple. How about that? If you see him in a crosswalk, do not hit your brakes. Hit the accelerator. Go for broke. Of course, I'm not serious, kind of. And the reason is he doesn't have an understudy. There is no, he is the main media focus, sort of like Bill Nye is kind of the fallback to just about anything scientific, the low end scientific. Neil deGrasse Tyson is the high end of that. And he has, as far as I know, he doesn't. Michio Kaku? No, he's not the under. He has nobody behind him to back him. Brian Cox from Britain? I don't think so. So, anyway. Thanks, though, for that. No, I'll say, if you're just asking what you need to do, get the word out there. We're still gunning for the 100th monkey effect, and I hope that everybody, at this point, the flat Earth concept, tying that to Fight Club, where you don't tell it, again, still treat it kind of gently. It comes down to, honestly, to your individual perspective. Meaning, if you have family members that are absolutely hell-bent that the Apollo missions were real and everything the science says and the mainstream is right and on all fronts, then you're not going to be able to do much, which is why the moon mission is such a great litmus test. You ask them, do you believe the Americans went to the moon? If they say without even blinking, absolutely they went, and honestly, why outside of this country would you ever say that? If you're in the U.S., sure, we spoon feed that to you since you were little, but outside this country, I have no idea why you would do not believe the Americans. We lie about all sorts of stuff. I could go on for literally days about the Americans. I mean, this world is based on deception, but if that's the truth, then the United States is the magnifying glass of that concept. So just, I don't know why that email sort of took me there, but we'll go on to something else. This one's called Flat Earth Star Chart. Mark, answer me here. I was listening to one of the Q&As where someone inquired about a correlation between the existing star constellations in the flat Earth map and the continents around the plane. Just curious, was the constellation the Orion? And that's from Zero Curve. Oh, yeah, the guy that sent me the Zero Curve license plate. Hey, by the way, if you're listening, Zero Curve, will you please send me, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think I have the real photo of your license. I think I've got just the license department printout. Oh, wait, my memory. I think this guy actually changed states, so he couldn't take his plate with him. But if you have the old plate, hopefully you kept it. You didn't sell the car with it on it. If you have one of those, I would love to have either a picture of it, or if you're just you're not doing anything with it, but it's not decorating your house, and it should be if you're trying to represent flat Earth, send it to me. I'll send you my mailing address. I'd love to have it because I think it's a very, very clever license plate. And as far as the constellation Orion, I have no idea. Don't know on that one. That one's a little obscure for me comes to flat Earth. This one's called, hey, look at that, Survival Guide. Mark, please send me a survival guide, signed Adam Williams out of Georgia. And I did. If anyone wants a survival guide, you can email me at msargent23@comcast.net. It's called Empty Shelves. I wrote it back in the Katrina days, just because, remember, everybody that came back from Katrina, out of the people that did come back to Katrina, even those people, 3 out of 4 of them didn't even bother to pick up a case of bottled water. It's like, you were run out of town by a giant mix of salt water and sewage. There were gangs riding in the street at night. It was not safe for anyone. And yet, when you come back to the city, you still don't get a couple of flashlights and some batteries and some canned food. I mean, $100, and you could have enough food and water and light source for days and days and days. $100. Just buy it. I'm not even going to send you to a survival site where you can buy. I think just go to your freaking Target or Costco or something. Just pick up some canned food, put it in a plastic bin, seal it up, put it off in a corner. You never have to think about it again. So you won't even look weird when you're buying it. Anyway, so you guys want that? Let me know. This one's called NDT, Admitting the Earth is Flat. Hey, Mark, Happy New Year to you. I have never seen this question posed to NDT before, so I spliced it out of a video segment and thought it might be used for an intro. Anyway, hope all is well. Clint, the guy from Canada. And yeah, again, be careful if you're pulling stuff out of context. We don't want to necessarily use the same tactics that are used on us. People pull out stuff. I've got so much interview content out there now that people are just splicing stuff up. I mean, you could turn me into a nightmare if you wanted to, just by using the interviews that I have and, picking out words and phrases here and there. And the one they really enjoyed, and I did it deliberately, was the one I said, don't take my word for it. I could be a mental patient that just escaped from an institution. And they absolutely grabbed it because the media loves anything that's sensationalized, anything controversial, anything catchy, they'll use. This one's called, I Can't Believe It. Mark, I will never look at the sky the same way again. So is that what they say is the ozone layer, the dome? No, I think it'd be more like the Van Allen radiation belt is kind of what they admitted to. Although the ozone layer isn't bad. I'm going to watch your video again and share it with everyone, all caps. I started researching things about the government and the Fed because I'm a numismatic. I've never used that. Numismatic. Is that a word? Our world is a, I'll say it, shit show. That's from Deanna. Thank you, Deanna. And yeah, let's move on. I don't use a lot of profanity here, although since CNN decided to use the Donald Trump shithole thing, I think that shit is actually going to be more of an accepted word out there. I knew it as soon as I saw CNN do it when they were running that story on Trump. It's like, you know what? If Trump said it, let's use it. And so whatever. They can do damage control on that for a while. This one's called Billy Joel Flat Earth Song for Your Playlist. It's a cover. We got. Oh, by the way, if you're doing a Flat Earth cover song, you can also send those to me. Email me and I will put them in the playlist. And this guy's been on a freaking tear. His name's Zane. Let's see. Let's read what it says. Hi, Mark. You're always an inspiration on this flat, motionless, domed Earth. I hope you like Billy Joel because he decided to make a Flat Earth song. That's right, Mark. Enjoy it, my brother. And it's called Flat Life. Which is a takeoff, I believe it's called My Life from Billy Joel, which used to be the theme song for Bosom Buddies for decades and decades, and until finally the contract ran out. And so every D-Day, in case you guys go out and actually buy a DVD copy of Bosom Buddies with Tom Hanks, it is that they use a completely generic song now because they lost the rights to it. And let me click. Thanks so much again, Mark. That's from Zane. And if I click on the link, it says Flat Life on Flat Earth. And he sings all his own lyrics, which is hilarious. It's good. My only complaint, by the way, about Billy Joel is that he was one of those artists. I know, every artist tries to evolve and they don't like looking back at their old stuff. But he was one of those artists that said that basically everything he wrote in the 70s was crap. It's like, dude, that was your golden albums right there. Billy Joel made a fantastic series of hits in the 1970s, and he just that stuff was crap. Same thing with the lead. Robert Plant said that thing of Led Zeppelin. But like Led Zeppelin's first 4 or 5 albums were all junk. It's like, really? Led Zeppelin 1, 2, 3, 4, all that stuff, all those great tracks. Come on. Let's see here. Moving on. This one's called Window of Heaven and Kyrie. Mark, if you stare at Kyrie Irving's logo and concentrate on the white part, it looks like a tower reaching up towards a window. The Tower of Babel, trying to reach the window of heaven, was in one of your flat earth clues. Bill. Yeah, Bill. And Kyrie's been doing some interesting stuff lately. Of course, he's on a freaking tear. I don't think he'll get MVP of the league, but he's leading Boston right now to top of the charts, which is great. Fantastic. I love it. And also nice because he went to high school at, if I'm not mistaken, St. Patrick's High School in Boston, which is, how's that for Irish? Boston High School named St. Patrick's. Go figure. And he mentioned just recently, I think just this week, that he learned most of his flat earth stuff from Instagram. And I'm not Instagram, but I did some searching on this, and I'm pretty sure what happened was he was on Instagram looking at a few pictures, but he found some links to flat earth videos from Instagram. So why wouldn't he just mention, and of course that would take him to YouTube. And I'm not, again, because I'm not on it, I'm not sure if you can watch YouTube videos inside of Instagram. So maybe that's what he was doing. He just kept mentioning that over and over. He never did mention YouTube, which I thought was fascinating. It's like, when everyone goes through YouTube. And Instagram, you can't necessarily embed videos. You can only embed the links. So I thought, and he's a really smart guy. So I don't know why he wasn't clarified. Of course, my big thing for Kyrie would be, hopefully he endorses somebody. So if you know how to reach him, if you want to do a thing and send a thing on his Facebook page or whatever you want to tweet him or whatever it is, tell him, look, mention somebody. It's great that he's a flat earth advocate, but do what, if he wants to mention Eric, that's fine. Do what rapper B.O.B. did, where rapper B.O.B. said, hey, don't just take my word for it. Watch these Eric Dubé videos. If Kyrie came out and say, yeah, watch some videos by Glowbusters or Jeranism or any of the other guys that are out there, then fantastic. I just hope he would, he's a great basketball guy and assist guy. Put it out there. We're out there willing to put it on our shoulders. So it's just a recommendation. All right, this one's called Flat Earth Atheist. And it's got a neat little graphic of a snowy, it's actually animated. I don't know how he did that. That's pretty good. Dear man. Okay, not Peter Piper, but Peter Pan. By the way, I have had people call me Peter Pan in texts and in emails, I think at least once or twice a week. I'd like to know where that's coming from. I don't know the reference. I don't know if there's a YouTube channel out there called Peter Pan or referencing Peter Pan. I do not know. I have no idea where it's coming from. Anyway, he says, I beg your pardon, sir. I am an atheist, a large electrical magnetic planetarian that resets itself by flooding. Sounds like a design made by controlling and suppressive men who have been around for eons. There are no limits to our technology. A creator has no boundaries, therefore would not set any boundaries. However, look around. Men are very good at constructing boundaries. For example, The Truman Show. In addition, I find the Flat Earth platform very suppressive and controlling. If you don't believe in a creator, you are suppressed and not invited to participate. Sound familiar? I find it a little insulting that one asks you me's that an atheist can't be a flat earther. Thank you very much for your hard work, Flat Earth Atheist. Look, I'm not saying that it's impossible to be an atheist flat earther. I'm saying it's really difficult because, look, even if you say that a higher civilization built this place, well, it's still a higher civilization. So what are we talking about there? Then you're kind of splitting hairs. One man's advanced civilization is another man's deity. So again, fine. If you're an atheist, you're going to hold on to that. What I mean by an atheist, meaning that you have no soul, that there is no afterlife. That's what we're talking about here. So if you believe you're in an enclosed system and that when you die, that's it. See, I've always had a problem with atheists anyway, because a true atheist would be living each day like it was their last. Because if you're only here and you're gone after it's over, then man, you should be getting every inch out of every mile that you're living. And I just don't see that. But that's fine. Hey, good. I didn't say it was absolutely impossible. I said it's really, really difficult. Moving on. And I'm sorry that you're gonna catch flack from people that are in the religious communities, because you are. I'm sorry, you are in a severe minority. If you're an atheist and you still are a flat earther, that's just the way it's going to be. I'm sorry, you are in such a minority, and we're talking 99-1 type minority. There's nothing we can do about that, because most of the world belongs to one of the major 5 religions anyway. And even if you're not, most of the people, I mean, there's still going to be a lot of people out there that, I don't want to spend too much time on this, they're going to be agnostics, which means that they believe in a higher power. They're just not going to put a name to them. Sometimes I have been accused of being agnostic. Again, raised born-again Christian. So I have quite a deep background in it. However, I do acknowledge the other religions that are out there. I'm not going to say that they're doomed like some of my family members would. Moving on. This one's called Dome Earth. This one's really short. Mark, hi, my name is Brian Clark, and I'm very interested in your theory. Fantastic. What this guy did was he probably watched one of the big video, the movie type format, and so in those cases, I just send him a link to the Mark Sargent YouTube homepage. That's it, or a link to the Flat Earth Clues, or sometimes it really depends what kind of mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll send him the Flat Earth shortlist for new people. Again, if you're trying to introduce somebody to the Flat Earth, and you don't necessarily want to send them just my stuff. In fact, my stuff is very sparse on this. Just type in Flat Earth shortlist for new people on YouTube or in Google, and it'll pop up the list. And it's like 24, 25 of the top intro videos. Easiest, in my opinion, to understand, covering a whole range. And I think currently the top one, that's the number one, the very first one on the list is Marty Leeds. It's a great video. Love his stuff. Next one is called Himawari 8. Hi, Mark. My belief that man is significant and perhaps the only creation of significance in existence has been, since a very early age, a strongly held one. The idea that we live on a globe, ignoring the speed of spin and orbit, which is a small planet, somewhere in a galaxy within galaxies, is not compatible with this belief. I follow most of the Flat Earth YouTube, and they do make sense to me. I have recently seen the live photos being sent back by the new Japanese Himawari satellite, and as I have not seen a specific mention of this in your presentations, I wonder if you have any views on this. Thanks, David Devoy. Yeah, I've downloaded, there's been several videos. In fact, one I put up recently, which was a mirror by somebody else, where they broke down the Himawari 8 images. You can go to the NASA website, and you can see where they compile everything. It's a big composition. They have it pre-done. It's already done in advance. The weather patterns, the whole 9 yards. The Himawari satellite, which again mysteriously appeared out of nowhere the summer of 2015, was interesting because up until that point, we have never seen an Earth with the weather morphing. And of course, just before that, we also saw a rotating Earth, but the weather wasn't morphing. So you can get one or the other. You can get a rotating Earth, weather not moving, or you can get a geostationary Earth with the weather morphing, but you cannot get the two knocked on top of each other. I have no idea why. A supercomputer should be able to pull that off pretty easy. So when it comes to Himawari 8 satellite, all you have to do is type in that Himawari satellite and look at the videos and type in Himawari Flat Earth. And you will see it. There's some great breakdowns. In fact, the one that was done last month had some great. It was mirrored a bunch of times and by me, and fantastic. Moving on, we can do a few more before the break. That's what's called another reason they hide our world from us. Greetings, Mark. If anyone questions why it matters about the shape and nature of our world, consider what might happen one day if everyone finds out we are inside a closed system. I am reminded of a Twilight Zone episode where a young couple wake up from a hangover to find themselves in unfamiliar surroundings. As they investigate their location, they discover everything in the town is artificial. They don't understand until a giant girl grabs them from the street, which is actually the inside of her dollhouse. They finally realize they were captured by aliens and their world is fake. Obviously, the couple were completely horrified. The powers that be probably envisioned a similar scenario, but on a massive scale, as curious multitudes braved the snow and ice to see the barrier for themselves. Just as you mentioned in the clues, an entire civilization would become obsessed with who built this place and what's beyond the dome. Human life would forever change, and civilization would obsess over jailbreaking methods and calling out the builders of this place. It's all anyone would think about or spend time doing. As a Christian, I am not troubled by what's outside of here, but for those who aren't religious, they might fear that a deceased race of aliens built this place long ago and maybe were on borrowed time. Certainly, the push to break out would be escalated by hordes of worried people, but many others would fear what might happen if we did make it through. Would doing so destroy our entire ecosystem in the process? Here's the link to the Twilight Zone episode of which I spoke. As always, keep up the good work and stay flat. Regards, Jeff. And the episode in question, let me punch it up real fast, is called, and I've got this on my machine somewhere, it's called Stopover in a Quiet Town. That's a Twilight Zone episode. So yeah, check it out if you get a chance. I think it is season 5, 1964. And I don't know if Rod wrote that one, Rod Serling. It's a good episode, though. Good, and it gives some nice perspective on it. Moving on. That's what's called Neil deGrasse Tyson in Disguise. Oh, God. Sent to me by Joseph Smith. And it was done by Jake the Asshole. Is this Neil deGrasse Tyson in disguise? Yeah, you guys can send me links. I watch it, of course. No, it's not Neil deGrasse Tyson in disguise. I think it was slightly racist, saying that all black people talk the same and have the same mannerisms. It was not Neil deGrasse Tyson. I do not think that Jimmy Carter is actually JFK that survived the assassination attempt either. That whole was a Dallas Goldbug. Yeah, he was the big guy on that one. Where he's going, oh, everybody's everybody. Anyway. Okay, let's see if I can punch this one out before we go to break. This one's called I Have Something That Might Interest You Considering Simulation in Your Flat Earth Virtual Reality vid I just watched. Mark, I don't believe in coincidences. I watched a video about the double slit experiment a few days before your video was posted showing the same thing. I myself was explaining to my son how this could apply to a simulated reality we call Earth. I also used video game graphics rendering as an example. While I was talking to my son about this, I recalled a video I had seen a couple of weeks before with Anthony Patch, Richie from Boston, and Nicholson 1968. In this video, Anthony Patch discusses how the basic binary code of computer language is related to geomancy. This could explain how our simulated reality is tied into the spiritual realm and the current development of DWAV, AI, and electronic channeling of other beings. I, too, am a Christian and have been trying to make the connection to God's creation and simulation. Maybe someone figured out long ago that spirits could be summoned or dimensions opened through the use of geomancy and computation. It makes sense if it is the language our reality is programmed with. You're a well-studied conspiracy guy, so the dots shouldn't be hard to connect when thinking about the powers that be and their obsession with duality. It is binary language after all. Thanks for all the work you do. I would love to see what your thoughts are on this. Here is the vid. And yeah, I watched it, and one of the reasons why, it wasn't necessarily an original vid, I chopped out a section of another video that was talking about virtual reality and how we're creating simulations. Of course, the entertainment industry gets the most funding because they're motivated by money. And there was some fantastic stuff. If you don't know what the double slit experiment is or quantum entanglement, look it up if you get a chance. It's one of my top 3 scientific mysteries that science lays credit for, and they really shouldn't be. But the double slit experiment, fantastic thing to look up. And in fact, you can type up virtual reality on my channel, virtual reality flat Earth, and you'll see the video I put out there. It covers in less than 10 minutes most of what you need to know, and then you can kind of do your homework after that. So we'll come back from break and do a few more of these, shall we?
Hello, YouTube. I hope you're well. Spot.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Major Kong. Major Kong. I'm ready to target the ICBM complex at Laputa. Switch all receiver circuits to CRM discriminators. What's cooking on the threat board? Nothing. Alright, tell you what you better do, old buddy. You better give Elmo and Charlie a flash, man. Bump everything up to condition written. Stand by the call on your Major Kong. Major Kong. Hey, what about Major Kong?
Clear and plain and coming through fine.
What about
It's great to be fine.
What about Major
What's
Kong?
happened? You see the string in my leg, Scar.
What about Major
I
Kong?
never told you.
Hey, what about Major Kong?
Welcome back to Strange World, part 3 of 4. And the intro and outro music, as we were going to break, you were listening to Sunrise by Simply Red. And if you're wondering why that sounds familiar, that is a remix, at least the beat and the melody of Hall & Oates' I Can't Go For That. I'm sorry, I Can't Go For That from the early 80s. Hall & Oates, one of the fantastic 80s bands. If you don't know anything about Hall & Oates, if you're not old enough to know what's going on with Hall & Oates, definitely pick up a best of Hall & Oates, rip it, get it from somewhere, or just watch it or listen to it on YouTube. They made some damn catchy tracks. And the song we were just listening to just before we came back was Major Kong, K-O-N-G, by Chip Baker. An original Flat Earth track that he took the sound bites from Dr. Strangelove, which was one of my favorite movies created by Stanley Kubrick. And yeah, real quick here, I'm not going to do Flat Earth news, but I was kind of curious because it's been a while since I've looked at this. And every day, as you know, I go into YouTube and I type in Flat Earth and I set the filter. I search by upload date, and then I search by today, and then I search by every 24 hours. Just seeing what's going on in here. And I was curious if anyone, I just want to kind of compare to anyone else is out there. I want to see if other people are getting the same sort of thing that I'm getting. So when I just type in Flat Earth and I don't put any filters, the top 5 really haven't changed much because ever since Kyrie and the Rocket Man, Mad Mike got involved, we've had a lot of big verified channels. And if you don't know what a verified channel is, it's a channel with a little check mark next to it. And if you don't know what the little check mark is for, when you hit 100,000 subscribers, you don't get it automatically. You actually have to petition. You have to ask YouTube. It's like, hey, I got 100,000 subs. Can I get a check mark? And they will most of the time just give it to you as long as you're not, a danger to yourself or others. And so a lot of the top 10 videos that are up there, if you type in Flat Earth, are by verified channels. I'm looking at Vice News. Okay, so I want to compare when I click and look at these versus what you guys click and look. So the very first one at the top of my list, and the reason why I'm asking this is the first one's called People from Around the Globe Met for the First Flat Earth Conference. That's from Vice News. And the reason why I mention that is the guy with the long blondish gray hair on there, that's Chris Pontius. He's the guy who made a whole bunch of Flat Earth models, had the display outside the conference down in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I can't find his webpage anymore. I could have sworn it was flatearthmodels.com. So unless I'm mistaken, guys, look out there for Flat Earth Models, because I can't seem to find this guy anymore. Don't know what happened. He was making all these great high-end, I mean, he had thousands of dollars worth of flat earth models, and he is gone. He's like disappeared. I'm hoping he got bought out by somebody. I hope he didn't get taken out. Anyway, so the first one's by Vice News, people from around the globe. The second one's by Secure Team 10. It's called Flat Earth About to Be Proven. The third one's called Bill Nye Comes for BOB about the Flat Earth Beliefs. That's from Complex News. All three of those are verified channels. The fourth one for me is Globebusters, Flat Earth NASA Bashing. The fifth one is Rob Skiba, The Genesis Revelation. And then another Globebuster one. And then ODD Reality, Journey to the Center of Flat Earth. And then finally Rob Skiba. If you guys get different ones than that, let me know. Because I'm literally, and I've killed my cookies and killed browser history and all this stuff. And I keep getting the same ones. And I have for a while now, because we're now entering a phase of Flat Earth where a lot of the big channels are running stories. And again, huge amount of hits or solid hits, plus they have a big presence. So like I'm looking at some of these other channels, Inform Overload, The Fumble, which is a sports station, USA Today Sports, Complex News, BBC News, Inform Overload, London Real, Secure Team, JR Eclipse, Vsauce, Comedy Central, everyone, Nigga Higga. All those I just mentioned, how stuff works, they're all verified channels. So what you're seeing when you type in Flat Earth and you don't run any filters, those probably aren't going to be changing anytime soon, because now it's taking a lot more traffic to break into the top 50 or even the top 20. So just to let you know. That's what I'm looking at. As far as just generic Flat Earth news, I'll probably cover most of it tomorrow with Patricia Steer. I'll also remind people that tomorrow I will be on Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and that's video. Yep, actually me on camera, which I haven't done it in some time. And we'll go over a whole bunch of stuff, including, I might as well congratulate him. I don't have any ill will towards the guy. And that is the first Flat Earther to actually make it to verified status, which was ODD, Reality. Go figure. He came out and he broke 100,000 and petitioned. And it was weird because Eric Dubé, before his channel went down, down like a sack of dirt, he was over 100,000, and I don't think he petitioned. Who knows why? Maybe it was because he didn't run into channel trouble, and his channel had been taken down several times. But this time it was permanent, where he didn't even, apparently his petition thing, because it was mostly for hate speech, that whole anti-Semitic rant he went on. Just to let you know, what goes around comes around. So remember, be nice, because no matter where you go, there you are. All right, let's get back to emails, shall we? This one's called Why We Can't Visit Space in the Future. It's a YouTube link. It's called Hi Mark, hope you check this video out. It's only about 10 minutes. I keep thinking, why doesn't this stuff show up in pictures and videos? And the videos goes to, wow, it's got a whole bunch of hits. It's from oh, neat. I actually hadn't watched it yet. It's from a big channel called, it's not a Flat Earth channel, called Real Life Lore. They've got 1.7 million subs, and it's called Why We May Not Be Able to Visit Space in the Future, with 2 million hits, and it was just posted not even 3 weeks ago. It's got 2 million hits. So good for those guys. Not a big shocker why anyone shouldn't be going to space anyway. If you believe mainstream science, the distances are too great. The fuel systems which we are using for conventional travel, and that I mean just regular old rockets, there isn't enough fuel to get anywhere, really. It's a one-way trip, even if you could, again, with the space probe supposedly we've sent out there. It is a one-way trip. Of course, that doesn't account for how they're getting past the Lagrange points, those areas of null gravity between here and other planets. You know, if the whole solar system is moving sideways like a dinner plate at 500,000 miles an hour, then when a probe gets out there, it should be dropping off like dropping a golf ball outside of a car window. The momentum is going to start losing energy really, really quickly because it's not being carried by the car anymore. Just saying. Okay, this one's called Liquid Oxygen. Mark, did you know that liquid oxygen is blue, like the color of the sky? It's also paramagnetic. I think we need open-minded scientists to help explain why the sky is blue. We might find out more about the water above. Thanks, Alan. Ooh. Interesting thought that liquid oxygen is blue. However, I don't think the sky is necessarily made of liquid oxygen because what's the other thing about liquid oxygen? What else is it? Come on, kids, you know the answer to this. It's very flammable. Extremely flammable. You got to remember, what we are breathing is only 20% oxygen. It's 4 parts nitrogen to 1 part oxygen. So, which is why when you see, I remember as a teacher I had in 6th grade back during the Civil War, and this teacher was complaining. He was ranting to the class like a bunch of 6th graders want to hear him rant, because this was in the early days when athletes like NFL players were using oxygen on the sidelines, and he couldn't understand it. He's going, why are they using these oxygen masks? They're just breathing the same air that we have around them. And I thought, it was like, well, you might be onto something. But no, he wasn't, because I didn't realize at the time, because you're in 6th grade, we're not teaching the composition of atmosphere, that they're actually breathing in a higher concentration of oxygen. They were breathing in like 40 or 60% oxygen rather than just 20% oxygen. Just letting you know. Oh, by the way, a public service announcement, if you guys ever had figured that out. If you were going to a tire store, and I saw this when I was up in Canada last year, where every once in a while you run into a tire store that'll say, oh yeah, we'll fill your tires with 100% nitrogen. And they'll run differently. You know, it's kind of like a snake oil type thing, like an undercoating on a car type. It's like, oh yeah, we'll fill your cars 100% nitrogen. If you understand what I just said, that doesn't really mean anything, because remember, your tires are already 80% nitrogen. So an extra 20%, how could you even measure that? I guarantee they're just deflating them and reinflating them with nothing, with just regular old street air. I guarantee it. They're probably charging you $20 for it. Oh, this is just a license to print money. Swear to God. This one is called, let's get to it, My Conspiracy Theory Themed Mixtape, Mr. Matty Moses. Hey there, Mark. I am just wondering if you wanted to check out my conspiracy themed mixtape that I came out with titled Who Am I? I have a song on there called Men in the Moon that has gained some traction on SoundCloud. I also have a Flat Earth track titled Get Over It that might be up your alley. It's hip hop, so it's in the vein of ODD. Most of what I've heard on your channel reminds me of KMFDM, oh, good one, or other industrial bands. But I thought I would just get this out there to you and see what you think. Smiley face. Thank you for your time, Mr. Matty Moses. And then he sends me a SoundCloud.com with Sets Who Am I by Matty Moses. You know what? If you have songs like that, if you're going to send me a SoundCloud link, just send it to me. Send it to me through WeTransfer. Send me the whole thing. Send them individually if you don't want to use WeTransfer. That's what, when I send bigger files, anything over 25 megs, I use WeTransfer because it's free. You just go on, you can send, if you use just the free edition, you don't have to download anything or install anything on your machine. But the free edition, you can send 2 gigs anywhere you want, and that's plenty for pretty much anybody, for anything. I can send full-blown movies that are sampled down to 2 gigs. This one's called Satellites, ? Mr. Sargent, disclaimer, I'm an atheist. Oh boy. I believe in science and the globe model, but I am intrigued by what you see as evidence for a flat Earth. I'm an average person with no connections to any agency that could be hiding a flat Earth. I'm an active duty soldier of 18 years, amateur astronomer, and family man. My question for the flat Earth theory is, what are the satellites we see in our sky at night? There are multiple programs designed by amateur groups that could not be associated with any vast conspiracy that predict the appearance of various satellites and the ISS. I use them frequently while sitting in my hot tub at night. This sounds so familiar. You know what? I have read this one before. I think this guy sent this to me. Oh my God, he sent this to me like 3 times. You know what? I'm not even finishing this one. It's from Blake. I think I've been caught reading this now in 3 different shows, and it's so distinctive that I thought it was deja vu the last time, but not this time. Nope, we're not finishing that one. Okay, this one's called Interesting Footage. Hi, here are some cookies. And they sent me some pictures of little silly graphics of cookies. Thank you. I have a skeptical nature and do not accept everything I hear or see. I have looked into all kinds of conspiracies, and although I don't necessarily agree with the conclusions, I generally assume that there would be no conspiracy without a lie. After watching a few Flat Earth vids, including yours, I can say without a doubt that there is a lie. The reality of our world is being obfuscated. I never use that word. I don't think I'm going to in the future, but I'm going to have to do some research on that one. Since watching you, and the reason why, if you guys see me stumble on words every once in a while, that is because I follow a rule, which is if you do not hear it in mainstream, if you do not hear the word uttered somewhere on television, I'm not talking about PBS talking point shows, if you don't hear it in the mainstream media, then generally I don't use it because, remember, I try to relate myself to the lowest common denominator, and I'm not trying to be derogatory when I say that. I'm saying that the people on the street talk the average person's language. Don't use $3.50 words that they're going to stare at you like you asked them a math problem. Use words that they understand. Well, that's why I like dumbing down things for people. Remember, the Dummy's Guide to Flat Earth, I wrote it. Anyway, I have a Kodi for my TV. I don't know if you're familiar with Kodi. It's spelled Kodi, but it's a media center for your television. It's totally legal, but all kinds of TV and films are available for free. If you add a few not so legal sources, it's a fully customizable with all sorts of add-ons and choose from. One of the add-ons I have on mine is called Screensavers. I hope that link works for you. If not, please just Google ATV4 screensaver for Kodi. I've installed this for a while. It's a collection of beautiful high-def real photos shot from drones. It is better than the actual screensaver provided by Apple. So while listening to your podcast with Flat Earth Clues fresh in my mind, my screensaver came on and I was astonished by the glaringly obvious flatness that I've been watching for months without noticing. So I started paying attention. It contains dozens of high-def videos that support FE. I'm sure you will find interesting. I don't know how to access these videos without Kodi. Uh-oh. I'll see if I can find them. I'm sure there is a way, but Kodi is free and, I repeat, totally legal and available on almost any platform. I have on it Raspberry Pi connected to my TV, but it works on Mac and PC. Please check it out, Nick. And yeah, if anyone has a collection of those Kodi or Kodi screensavers, I would love to use them, or videos, or whatever those guys are using. And as far as, you don't have to worry about saying if something's legal or not with me. I mean, for God's sakes, did you not hear the fireworks stuff that I used to do as a child? I mean, I still rip movies to this day. And in fact, I can't even remember, and I don't care if anyone hears this, because it's just the state of where we're in as a civilization. I don't remember literally the year I bought a piece of media, meaning a movie, a television show, a song, a picture. I don't remember. It's been a long time. I mean, years and years now. I mean, ever since high-speed internet and file sharing and the BitTorrent system came out, or heck, even before that, it was bad. Even back in the day, when anyone remember, well, of course, Napster, but after Napster, you had LimeWire and all those other clones. I mean, remember, the Napster almost brought down the backbone of the internet. I mean, it was crippling universities at some point. You want to watch an interesting documentary about it, just catch up on some of your history. If you're younger, watch a documentary called Download, or it was Download or Downloaded. I think it was Downloaded, where they talk about the history of Napster. It's fascinating how the guy that created it, who later on, he was sued by the music industry and he just got crushed. But then after it was all over, who grabbed him up but Zuckerberg, and he was one of the guys that was one of the core people for making Facebook. And so he got all his money back and then some. And what was interesting was, even after he was crushed, they destroyed Napster and the entire system behind Napster, but the MP3 was created from it. And so once all these other developers says, oh yeah, we know how to make an MP3, well, that was it. You just let the genie out of the bottle. And then MP3s, I mean, you got to remember that between, I think it was 95 and 2005, the music industry literally lost half their money. It was amazing. I mean, literally lost 50% of their money. All that artists were scrambling. They were having to charge. You want to know what the big reason why ticket sales went up for the concerts went up so much? It was because they weren't making any money on their album sales, because people were just giving away their albums. Anyone you're at school, when you're at university, all you got, I mean, most college students are dirt poor. All you got is your dorm room or your apartment room and your music. That's what you got. And if your music then becomes free, everyone's going to make it free. Anyway, I could go off on that, but I'm not going to. This one's called Sent You a Text. Mark, assuming you changed your number in the last 2 years, but if you didn't, great video, I'm sold. Patrick. You're very welcome, Patrick. And yeah, you guys can text me if you want. I'm not going to return your text because I hate text. Not necessarily your text. If you send me a text, say great. I'm sure you're a very nice person, but I think that texting is a lower form of communication. I think that you want to talk to somebody, pick up the frickin' phone and talk to them. I'm old school. I mean, for years and years and years and years, as soon as the phone came out, there were teenagers and people were just anchored to their phones. And my sister, literally had to buy her own phone line because of her boyfriends. It's just yeah. And I'd die a happy man if I could remember her phone number. But that's because she and I were fighting over the phone constantly, and that's what it was for the longest time. And then we went to text, and now you've got entire relationships that are based off of texting. It's irritating. You've heard of the movie with Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson called Lost in Translation? That's what we're talking about here. This is Lost in Translation. You lose so much when you're not hearing somebody's voice. You don't hear their tone. You don't hear inflection. You don't hear pacing. You just read text, which is the only reason emojis and those whole emoticon things even came out, was because text wasn't enough. So if it wasn't enough, and you want to know why it happens, it's because people follow the Art of War, the Sun Tzu thing. Even though nobody's read Art of War, they all follow the same thing, and that is people always follow the easiest option. People are lazy. They always have been, and they always take the easiest road, and the easiest road is text from an emotional standpoint. Anyway, moving on. This one's called question marks, and I don't mean the word question mark. I mean just 3 question marks. And it says, Mark, you're brain dead. That's from Andre. Fantastic. And I don't mind. I don't get these very often. So it's good that I finally hear this. Apparently, I am brain dead. And he didn't want to explain. And he actually used text speak. When he sent it to me, he used "you are." Great. That's fine. I don't mind. This one's called Coast to Coast. Hi, Mark. Can you please send me a copy of both Coast to Coast interviews that you did? I have a few pics in your feeds. Big fan. Thanks, Mark. Corey from Victoria, Canada, the Flat Earth tape pics guy. Oh, right. I saw, and of course, Victoria, Canada, where I spent a year fairly recently. In fact, I've been back for a year from Victoria coming up in April. So I've been back 9 months. And Victoria, Canada, beautiful, beautiful place. Great people. Don't regret that for a second. And I don't remember if I met Corey. Did I meet Corey up there? Hopefully I did. I meet so many people. And after the convention, I'm completely lost. Oh, yeah, in the Coast to Coast thing that he was talking about. I've been interviewed by Coast to Coast twice. Once by George Norrie and once by Connie Willis. So if you guys, and of course, I can't put those up on YouTube because Coast to Coast has a very strict, surprisingly strict reproduction policy to where they will copyright strike you. If you put your stuff up, if you put your interview, they make you sign. Out of all the interviews I've done, they're the only people that made me sign a disclosure agreement saying that I could not put it up there. So I actually have to say, okay, if you guys want it, you got to go to Coast to Coast and buy their subscription service. But of course, I have the raw audio. So if you guys wanted the copies, you want to listen to them, you can send me an email saying, send me your Coast to Coast stuff. Stay on my desktop. I'll just fire them off through WeTransfer. I think it's about 100 megs in total for the both of them. One was done in the middle of 2015, and the other one was done just a couple months ago. And you guys can listen to them, and if they want to yell at me, that's fine. By the way, I also got smacked by, I did actually get a copyright strike. Of course, every one of them I've gotten overturned. I've only gotten 4 total, and they were spaced out pretty well. The first one, who was the first one by? The first one, I think, the first one was Coast to Coast, which was because they thought I had actually put it up and it was just a promo piece that said, oh yeah, I'm doing Coast to Coast. And the intern didn't even look. The second one was done by an Indian rapper, which was interesting because he solicited me. He contacted me and said, hey, can you promote my Flat Earth song? I said, great, yeah, sure. Mirrored on my channel. 2 hours later, I get a strike. And I go, what the hell, dude? You just told me to put your freaking video up. And what he had done was, he was the artist, and this is to show you what I'm talking about. Sometimes the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And so the producers who had control of that song, he hadn't even talked to him and asked permission. He just contacted me. And so the producers with the intern smacked me, and I had that overturned in like 2 seconds. The Trailer Park Boys grabbed me because they said my clip that I used of them, even though it was reverse mirrored, was too long. I think it was like 9 minutes. And I claimed fair use. If you guys don't know what fair use is, look it up. It means you can use it for, because remember, my channel is a Flat Earth news reporting channel. And I said, look, you guys talk about Flat Earth. I use just your Flat Earth segment and I put it into my thing. And the intern, who apparently was stuffed into lockers as a child, he was looking for any sort of flexing of power, and he tried to go after me. I got fair use. That was overturned. That took a few weeks. And the latest, I got to mention this, and I'll read one more before the break. The latest, which was fascinating, of all the interviews that I did down at the Raleigh, North Carolina conference, I did 14 down there. The one that I thought for sure was going to be a hit piece, where they were just going to smack us around, was BuzzFeed. And I ended up talking to him for an hour later, and he used some of that, and he made this compilation. It was actually quite kind about why people believe in the flat Earth. And I took that and I said, right on. I put it part of my media series, which is Flat Earth Conference media series. And it was like my 10th or 11th one. They actually struck me for that. And it was one of the interns. And so I didn't even hesitate. So I said, fine, fair use. There's no way you're going to get me for that, for the very least, because here's where the irony comes in. He's copyright striking me on a video about the Flat Earth Conference, and the video had me in it in multiple places. And so it's like really, you're gonna strike me on a video of me? Come on. It's like, well, we asked permission from you. It's like, whatever, fair use. Okay, let's read this real quick. This one's called Clouds. Hi, Mark, big fan. Why doesn't anyone question gravity when 2 inches of rain can fall from the sky in one small location? I mean, crap, millions of gallons of water float around above our heads all day long at high altitudes where air is thinner. WTF. Science says the water drops are so small gravity doesn't affect them. BS. Air molecules are smaller? Right. I ask everyone this question and wait and get a similar answer that even flat earthers do find this weird, or they revert back to the official scientific explanation, which in my world won't hold water. Pun intended. Much love, Michael. And yeah. When it comes to, look, you've probably heard me say recently, and in fact, it's one of my 5 scientific questions that I'm holding out for general academics, which is the gravity and atmosphere problem, which is the atmosphere. As you know, there's heavier atmosphere, there's atmospheric pressure, and then there's light stuff like helium and hydrogen and fluorocarbons and ozone. They all float up above. Remember, helium balloon goes up. So if the vacuum power of space, which is measured in torr, T-O-R-R, is super, super powerful, then what's keeping the atmosphere from being ripped off? If you want, especially at the high levels where everything's super wispy, why isn't that just ripped off into the vacuum of space? I don't know. They say gravity. I say because it's enclosed, but that's just me.
It seems to me so strange. Check wallet for his name. His face is in the muck. I think his zipper's stuck.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World Part 4 of 4. And the musical outro that you heard before we went to break was Operate by Peaches. If you don't know what that is, it got a great resurgence because it was used in the soundtrack of the movie Mean Girls with Lindsay Lohan. It's fantastic. I was just in there poking around that video. If you type in Peaches Operate on YouTube, and the first, 50 comments are all quotes from the movie, which was great. I'm sure the creators of that song will hate that part. And the song you just heard now was a cover of Joe Jackson, Steppin' Out, from his album Night and Day. Can't use the original Steppin' Out anymore. I mean, I literally can't use it. It's not that he wants the nickels. He actually blocks it because Joe Jackson went on tour last year in 2017. Go figure, reunion tour. And so I use a cover of it. And what's interesting is even the cover is copyrighted by like 6 different people. But it will only show up in the YouTube stuff. The filter will only catch it in YouTube if it's really, really clear. So if I use a high fidelity version of that cover, it'll be picked up. If you sandpaper it up enough, like what's going to be probably coming through this show, then it doesn't get picked up. They don't even hear it. It's weird. YouTube's algorithms are interesting. How you can sometimes get around them. Sometimes you can do it with mirroring. Sometimes boxes within boxes, and sometimes with audio, you can do it by just messing up the sound, just enough. Just making it not as crisp as it should be. Hey, I'm not trying to tell people to get around things. Just saying that's how it works with me. Moving on. Let's get to some more emails, shall we? Lord knows they never stop coming. This one's called Flat Earth. Mark, I totally believe in the Flat Earth, but all of my relatives and friends think I'm absolutely insane and retarded for thinking that. Please send me more information. Also, I'm a strong believer in Jesus Christ. And for those strong believers in the Word of God, I usually send them to either Rob Skiba or Robbie Davidson, Celebrate Truth, or Zen Garcia. In fact, Zen Garcia is on this network with Secrets Revealed, and Rob Skiba is on this network also. And you can, in fact, Rob Skiba's website is called testingtheglobe.com, where he goes over a lot of chapter and verse. Highly recommended for anyone that wants to get into this thing. If you want to know all the chapter and verse quotes, that's where you should probably start, is Rob Skiba's testingtheglobe.com. This one is called Terminator Lines Seen Through Telescopes. Hi, Mark. Do you know if any of the planets in the night sky have ever had a Terminator line as seen by the naked eye or telescope, or is it all CGI? Thanks, Brian from North Carolina. When it comes to planets, look, the whole sky is just a big display system. So, yeah, the whole thing's a CGI. So as far as Terminator lines, I don't know. Never really looked. Never really cared. They supposedly taken them from satellites. I know that when you do flybys, supposedly of Saturn and Jupiter and even Mars, you'll see Terminator lines there. But I don't trust anything. I'm not shy about saying this. Do not trust any information coming out of NASA. Remember, NASA is part of the United States military. It is DOD, Department of Defense, all the way. And they were designed for one reason and one reason only, to keep this thing under wraps, so to speak. No pun intended. This one's called Builders. Greetings, Mark. My name is William H. Ryland IV. That's a mouthful. I was watching your videos on Flat Earth, and I'm pleased to see that you are so bold as to even leave your number to call. I myself have also been doing he even talks like he's the fourth, doing a great deal of research, but even beyond the research is critical thinking. And through my own thinking, I have discovered that spinning ball Earth, gravity, and the rest of the lies we are told make no sense. In fact, when I think about it, it's quite humorous. Oh my God. I also have a deeper understanding of how things on Earth do operate through frequency and electromagnetism. Magnetism. And that was my fault, not his. And how it is all related to electric motor or even an atom. I believe I know what the sun and the moon are, and even stars. But I'm sure you already know all this. I've been trying to wake people up for some time now, and I haven't had very good results. I feel like I'm wasting my time, and that these people are happy living in the Matrix. For one to find truth, it appears one has to seek truth, and I do believe truth comes from God. And it was me seeking God that brought me to the truth. As for these people, I am almost under the impression that I should just leave them, believe the lies, and for myself, I would like to leave this artificial world and join the builders of the earth. Do you think that maybe the very ones hiding the truth are the same ones who built the earth? Either that, or do they work for God just as it is written in Isaiah 10, that the Illuminati, really it was written in Isaiah 10 that the Illuminati is the axe in the hand of God? I don't know if that was Isaiah 10. Somebody check on that. Well, I'm pretty sure my computer is bugged and I'm having a hard time typing, so I'll send this as first contact and look forward to hearing from you and discussing this further. Blessings, William Ryland IV. Well, I don't think that mankind has anything to do with the building of this. I think older civilizations, yes. As far as God, again, one man's advanced civilization is another man's deity. So take your pick. This one's called Flat Earth. Dear Mark, I just want to express my gratitude for your very informative Flat Earth Clues presentation. As recently as 2 years ago, I would have mocked the Flat Earth hypothesis unmercifully. However, due to a combination of my own observations and the work of Flat Earth researchers, I can now appreciate that it is the globe hypothesis that is deserving of ridicule, if not blatant contempt. I find it both sad and infuriating that the true nature of our world has been blatantly hidden by those who would wish us to remain in ignorance of the true place in the grand scheme of which I now have no doubt we play a major role. Once again, many thanks for your excellent work, and I now look forward to the time when the grand illusion is once and for all shattered. With regards, Neil Henderson. And he's from Scotland. Cool. Thank you for that, Neil. Good stuff. This one's called Addendum. Regarding your Flat Earth Clues publications. Mark, I just realized that your video clues collection includes the German TV report, Channel Pro 7 Galileo, about your first Flat Earth conference. Do you speak or understand German? Nein. I do not. I feel bad. My grandmother and my great-grandmother, because we came from Germany on my mother's side, all heavy, strong German family, but no. Do you notice that they rightfully made fun of your crazy convention, considered the participants home to be schooled, brainwashed lunatics and Bible-thumping creationists, ridiculing the naive participants, the peddlers selling their weird models and posters? Haro Fulgrob, the guy who interviewed a few of you, yeah, I met that guy, is a great and bright guy. In fact, it was Haro and his TV production that got my attention about your Flat Earth Society. Quoting him and his German report as a clue or evidence for your Flat Earth theory is ridiculous. Galileo presented you as fools for a good reason. So I decided to offer you a deal. We will both fly to the Earth's South Pole together, and I will pay for the trip, both tickets. In fact, there are a few cruise and travel organizers offering these trips to the generic public. I did not know that until now, never needed to either. The trip is exclusive, limited, and expensive, at least $50,000 per person, plus a lot of overhead costs as the trip starts from Chile. But I can easily afford this adventure and have plenty of time. We will document the trip meticulously. The video and interview material may be used in a later Galileo TV report and other outlet channels. There is a catch, though. Oh boy, yeah, I was about to say, if you're going to pay a $50,000 trip for me, there's probably a catch. Hopefully, it's not sex. If you do accompany me to Antarctica, the interpolar circle, and the geographic south pole of our planet, and see with your own eyes and measurement tools, GPS, see right there. He's saying, oh yeah, what if you believe the GPS? It's like, dude, the GPS is in the United States DoD stuff. And anyway, I'll continue on. Magnetic compass, sextant, pick your own trustworthy tools and gauges, please you. You have to repay me. I love it. I love it. Meaning you need to, oh my God, not just repay him. Meaning it's a $50,000. It's basically he's wagering $150,000. You need to put the total amount of the trip, about $150,000, into an escrow account, managed and supervised by a neutral notary of choice. The moment we enter the inner circle of the Antarctic continent or you bail out for whatever reason, these funds will be immediately released to me. If we are prevented entrance to the Antarctic Center by border guards, Army soldiers, or if the crews, captains, pilots admit that the trip is really a hoax, and then there is no Antarctic continent South Pole, then the entire tab is on me, and you get your escrow back, promised. That's it. I get nothing out of it, other than I literally get nothing. So, whatever. If Antarctica and the pole exist, you must conduct a second Flat Earth conference. And we both will report about our common trip into the Antarctic Circle to the southern pole of the Earth. We will present the evidence of our common measurements like GPS track data. You see, oh my God, he just isn't getting it. Like, look, you can't use GPS. You can't. It's American military. Videos, photos, interviews, and the vessel and plane captain, scientists working. You will, oh my God, I have not read this yet. You will, all caps, apologize to your members for the error and false claims that you have made by telling nonsense about the flat Earth and a non-existing Antarctic continent. The Flat Earth Society should then be dissolved. Well, okay, I have nothing to do with that, so I don't even know how to do that, as all conspiracy nonsense was based on these false claims and false belief. If interested in the deal and this adventurous trip, please drop me a line. I may contact Haro Fulgrab and the Galileo team, as they are most likely interested in this follow-up. It is our common urge and conviction to stop this flat Earth debacle once and for all, for the sake of mankind, of education and science. We are living in the 21st century, for crying out loud. And then I'm waiting your response and feedback, Michael Walter from Germany. Wow. Yeah. That's, hey, credit to him for thinking that far out. But no, I'm not going to. No, not has anything to do with necessarily with the money, but basically it's $150,000 wager to what? It's based on what, GPS data? What? In fact, here's the problem with that. You go to the South Pole. What does that prove exactly? It's just going to where the United States military said where the South Pole is, and you're basing it off GPS data. It is a no-brain lose scenario. You will lose if you go down there, because like, oh, you can, again, I've never said you can't go to where they say the South Pole is. You can go to Antarctica right now, charter a trip, go to the South Pole. Is it the South Pole, though? Is it the bottom of the world? No, of course it isn't. But, wow. But hey, at least it's in his head. I'll give him that. Again, this shows you the polarization, how people get really bent out of shape. Okay, this one's called Flat Earth Questions. Good day, Mark. In 2016, I accidentally stumbled across an FE YouTube clip. I have been questioning and researching ever since. I do know now that the Earth is not a globe, thanks to your Flat Earth Clues videos. Also, I understand most of how Flat Earth works. There are a few questions that I am not able to answer, and I hope you could help me out with this. I start with these two. When researching the Southern Star, I get images of the star trails around the Southern Star. Are these real, and if so, how does that happen? I think it's real because I think it's the second part of the projection system. I think the projection system is based off of the instancing principle, which is the realization of an object in software. So anything this big, you can do just about anything you want up there. Remember, we're talking about technology that is a long, long way ahead of us, and we can do some pretty amazing things right now. Looking at the Gleason's map, South Africa and Perth are almost twice the distance than South Africa and Middle East. How can direct flights to Perth be made in 9 to 10 hours? I don't know. Don't know. There's something wrong with the perspective down there, with the scaling. Don't know. Still having people work that out. I really enjoy explaining the logic behind Flat Earth to friends and family. Some are still in denial, but most surprisingly will be looking into it after being presented with logic proof. There is one Flat Earth logic that I do not agree with. As a boy, my dad once showed me how you can see the curvature of the Earth. Oh boy. While standing on the beach with about a 180-degree view of the ocean. I remember seeing it because my mind had to. Obviously, the Earth was a ball back then. What bugged me was how it was even possible. I mean, where would the horizon curve to, even if we were on a ball? This slipped my mind until recently, hearing the argument that if the Earth was a globe, you would be able to see the curvature. This is what I don't agree with. Let me explain. My logical thinking tells me that if you would stand on a big ball facing north, the distance to the horizon line is just 10 kilometers, just using a number, then the horizon line south would be the same, as will east and west. In fact, it will be the same to any direction you face. That's why the horizon would, to our point of view, be a straight line surrounding us. The only way one would ever be able to see a curvature is if one would be standing on a cylinder where the curvature would be curving to below, or if one could get enough altitude to see the whole globe, of course. This does not prove that the Earth is flat or a globe, since you would not see a curve either way. I'm actually surprised that no globe earther has ever used this to their defense. Actually, Neil deGrasse Tyson tried. Maybe because they love believing as they can see the curve. What does prove that there is no curvature is the fact that horizon always lifts to eye level despite your altitude. Please give me your take on above questions, and also on my last thought. Thank you, Joseph Spies. Well, look, I've said this a million times, which is left to right. When you're looking over the horizon, side to side, curvature, you're never going to see it. Never going to notice it. That's the forward and back that you're really going to notice. And I don't want to use north and south. Forward and back. Boats going to the horizon type of thing, meaning 8 inches per mile squared. Side to side, you're not going to be able to notice much. Forward and back, though, you definitely will. Boats, planes, sun, moon, anything going over that horizon should, again, sink very, very, very quickly. Planes should look like they're nosing down, and when they're coming up over the horizon, they should look like they're going almost straight up. They don't. They just go off into the distance, like railroad ties, like telephone poles. They just go off into the distance at a straight line. And when it comes to boats, look, we HD technology has really, really changed that. Meaning you see things in the distance that are way, way past the curvature of the Earth. 8 inches per mile squared. Remember, it's 8 inches times every mile times itself. So 8 inches per mile per mile. So 50 miles, that's 50 times 50 times 8 inches. It's pushing 1,700 feet. And if that's the case, you should not be able to see anything less than 1,700 feet. And we do. So how can you do it? Don't tell me it's a mirage. Don't tell me it's just for perspective or refraction or atmospheric lensing, because we can claim atmospheric lensing as well. But I don't want to get into that too much because we still got more emails. This one's called They're Hiding God YouTube vid. Excellent work, Mark. I'm pretty much down with everything you put forth in this vid. If there's anything you knew you have that maybe you haven't put up yet, I'd love to research it. That's because They're Hiding God was not my video, which is fine. It's my stuff. It's my voice. But if you want, people email me that. I just send them to my main channel. My name is Kelly M. Caldwell Jr. At least he's not a fourth. I'm a 58-year-old factory worker on the cusp of retiring. A friend much younger than myself turned me on to flat earth. I looked into it, could not believe what I now have been so blind, and I am a born-again Christian. Like so many, I never gave the globe model a second thought. It was an involuntary acceptance. But since I looked into flat earth, saw the curvature math, and really looked at the horizon, the blinders have been lifted. It's ironic in a way that my friend is not a Christian, but he helped me to see the truth to what flat earth is all about. Someday, I hope to return the favor by leading him to Christ. In closing, I'll relate an amusing story concerning my friend. I approached a former associate pastor of mine about how would be the best way to win someone to Christ who had been asking a lot about flat earth Bible verses. He basically laughed in my face when I said the words flat earth. Haven't been back to the church since. I know that my own eyes can see when I look to the horizon, and I have the word of God. That's good enough for me. Keep up the good work, and I'll do what I can in my little circle of friends. That's from Kelly Caldwell. Thank you for that. It's good. This one's called Watched One of Your Vids. Hi, Mark. Well, where to... Oh, boy. This one may be too long. This one, yeah. Little big. It's from... I'll say it's from Kevin Smith. He watched... They hide the Hiding God with the Greatest Lie Ever. He goes over a lot of stuff. There's a lot of biblical stuff in here. I'm sorry. It's just a little long for me for the end of the show. So maybe I'll save it for the next one. Sorry about that, though. There's 7 minutes left, and I don't want to throw a big email at the end. This one's called Antarctica. It's called, Hi, Mr. Sargent. I live in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm currently trying to figure out where to go with this newfound knowledge. With only a week of research on flat Earth, I'm 95% convinced we're being deceived by NASA, governments, and Hollywood. Actors George Clooney. Oh, don't pick on George Clooney. Actors George Clooney and others seem to always be close to the presidents for some reason. Don't pick on George Clooney. Must be a reason that. But for anyway, my question is, has anyone ever tried to sail around Antarctica, the outer edge, with a beacon or tracker of some kind, with someone else at the North Pole tracking them? Would that work? That's from Ron. Yeah, except that you're still using the GPS system in the Southern Hemisphere, and you can't trust it. Literally cannot trust the GPS system. I mean, yeah, you can trust it to get from here to the grocery store. If you're driving to Kansas City, you can trust it. But you're on the open ocean, or if you're flying a plane, it is a approximation. It's an estimation. It is not an exact science. This one's called Question Marks. It's called Don't Send Me These Nonsense Videos Ever Again. It's a cancer of YouTube. Nice. Thank you. It's awesome. This one's called Flat Earth YouTube Video. Oh, wow. This font is really small. Okay. Dear Mark Sargent, my name is Robert Barr. I live in Independence, Iowa. I'm 51 years old. Anyway, I've been watching different videos on YouTube for years and all sorts of things. It's crazy, as you may know. Anyways, I believe in God, and I am a born-again Baptist Christian. So many subjects online, hard to say where it all started, but just one thing for sure. I showed and had talked to my wife about many things that we as humans are deceived in many ways about almost all we have ever learned. Needless to say, she left me, oh God, because of all of this. And a few years later, about a year ago, that she did not believe me, but I was just scared. We are still married, but somewhat separated. She loves me, but cannot stand to listen to or be around anyone who tries to research this kind of thing. I do believe you 110%. 100% is just fine, just, you know. And I just wanted to thank you for making these videos for us all. I'm your newest fan and would like to know if it's okay to make a few copies of your videos to pass out to some of my family. I love truther videos, and you are sure 110% that. So I thank you deeply for all you've done. Also, may I ask if you would send me some tips of type of paper map or something cool I could hang on my wall. And if you want, I could first send you a few bucks if you needed to do so. I really love that, and really make a copy somehow for my little 10-year-old daughter, who somehow is smarter than me and my wife put together. I can't imagine that one, but it's the truth, that's for sure. Anyways, if not, I'm sorry to have asked you. I did not mean to bother you in any such way. Looking forward to hearing from you, and also I pray all is well with you and yours, and will keep you in my prayers. Thank you again for all you've done, and put yourself out there. I know there are many shills out there. They are satanic. It's so good to know that you are strong. Thank you. May God and Jesus keep you safe. Sincerely, Robert Barr. You know what? I have to write that guy back. Talk to him. Okay, this one, we got time for a couple more. This is called Air Pressure. Hi, Mark. Happy New Year. Watch this video. It's very old school and simple, but gets the point over very well for those who have not thought about a vacuum adjoining our atmosphere. This guy is a proper nutty professor with great enthusiasm for his subject. Regards, Neil. And the video is of Flat Earth Air Pressure, the staggering reality. It was done by Harry Growler, published October 30th of last year, and I will give that a thumbs up. It's almost got 1,000 views. So cool. Thank you for that. This one's called Happy New Year. You can tell where I'm kind of at. Let's see. I think I can read this one before we finish. Sorry for the long email. It's not that long. Sorry for the long email. Use this on your show. Don't say my name or email or phone number, please, sir. Thanks. Dear Mark, been listening to your show since 2015. The first few months after listening, I told my wife and children, who looked at me strangely, my oldest, who was in high school, and said, that doesn't make any sense. Not to worry, still happily married. My wife and myself in 2015 went to a party where she told her friend about me thinking the earth could be flat, and her friend looked at me and said it's round. Well, as time progressed, I would bring it up to my wife and children in the car, driving or at home, just out of the blue, and they would roll their eyes at me. But as my wife watched her shows, I started noticing things like globes sitting on those shows sets, and that's why, okay. I saw a small globe sitting on a desk on Chicago PD once. I thought I'd been doing the same work in a smaller field for years and never used a globe, and then I realized that it's a sneaky way to keep the globe on the mind. There's a show on Netflix called The Killing, and it's a cop drama. There's an episode where the investigator is inside a bedroom. She notices a globe on the desk and turns it on like as it's a lamp. She turns it on and finds a clue to the case inside. Oh, also on the same show, some kids come in from school. One of them has a globe, looks like it's made of Play-Doh. The globe is set on a table, and when it's shown again on the table, it's a piece of it's missing, and you can see the so-called layers of the earth, and I know you love so much. Another show my wife watches that the title is Keeping Up. I'm not saying the name, but the women there are on a trip to Cuba, and they were talking about that we have to find Wi-Fi because our phones don't work over here. And I said, what? Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. My wife said jokingly, why? Because the earth is flat? I said, no, because there are satellites that should have coverage there. I said, isn't that strange? There are supposedly thousands of satellites in space, yet you don't have coverage in Cuba. And supposedly we lost the sound? Oh, now it's back. I'm sorry. I think my wife told me to go back to watching my videos. I'm sure there's been a few other shows. I just can't remember all of them right now. But prior to the end of last year, my youngest child in high school is getting into looking at the stars. And me and my father-in-law were looking up the stars, and he mentioned, wonder how the stars stay the same if the earth is spinning. My youngest was wondering it too. Only thing I said was 2 words, heliocentric and geocentric. I left it at that for now, but I'm wondering what would be a well-made telescope that's not expensive I could use. And she said I could go outside and look at the stars. If you have any ideas, I'd listen. Thank you for your time. Matt from Florida. And that's it. That's how we're going to end this one. And thank you for everyone writing in. And next week, we're going to probably take some phone calls and get back to business as usual. So come back next week. I'll be here. Same time, same flat channel.